Hello, and welcome back to the channel. As most of you know, I'm Topher, and for those of you who don't know and just randomly decided to click on my video, welcome to the channel. I'm Topher. Thank you for stopping by. So we're here to do a reaction, and we're diving back into I Promised You the Moon. We're diving into episode 2. It looks like this video I have is also split into 2 parts, so we're just going to watch the first part, give a little commentary, dive into the second part, and just see where things go. Okay, well that's where that half of the episode paused. I really like that whole bathroom scene. It was like, obviously it was a long time coming because we've seen this sort of discomfort that O's been feeling for a while, and then this episode has just kind of brought it even more to the forefront. And those same sort of tendencies that they were exploring in I Told Sunset About You, with O and his sort of, not really flakiness, but his tendency to take on an activity or something and then get bored really easily and then move on to something else. You know, that whole mentality that he had as a child, and then him falling into acting because all of a sudden, oh, I really, really like this, it's lots of fun, by accident. And like, we haven't seen, you know, the signs of those sort of character traits in him in a while, but it seems like, you know, that's still there. As soon as things stop being fun and they seem to be like a little bit more work, they seem to be hard work, and it's gonna require some sort of actual effort, he's like, nah, this isn't for me, I'm not here for this. And it's like, I thought we had grown out of this. I'd hoped we'd grown out of this. I didn't think we were gonna see this come back to haunt us, but here we are. And for me, and I don't know if this is where Tez's mind was, but this is where my mind would be in that situation. Because, like, yes, I love O. I love him to death. We've been together, we've been through all this, and we're this beautiful relationship. I love you to death. Yes, I can forgive the things from our past, but I'm the type of person, well, I'll forgive, but I'll never forget. Not that I'm gonna hold a grudge or, you know, hold it over your head or anything, but like, I'm not gonna forget things that have happened in the past. I'm not stupid. Like, I might forgive you for transgressions or things that may have happened between us, but I'm not gonna forget and then potentially put myself back into that, you know, line of fire. So in this situation, when he's talking about, I want to, you know, transfer out, my initial thought is, well, what about everything that we went through in I Told Sunset About You to get to this point, to get you to this point? Like, suddenly all of the things that happened just started flooding back to me. Like, hey, I gave up my seat in the college of my dreams. I wanted to go to this university so freaking badly, and I was in. I had a guaranteed seat, but I knew that you wanted this, and I didn't think that you would be able to do it if you, so I gave up my seat so you could be here. And then we went through this whole testing and studying thing, and then I still didn't get in, and you got in on your own merit, and it was beautiful and it's wonderful. I'm so happy, I'm so proud of you. And but like, I'm thinking of all the things that I sacrificed, all the hours, all the heartache, everything that we went through in that series to get us to the point that we are at right now. And you were just saying that, oh, it got a little, it was a little challenging. I'm not here for it. Like, in my head, I'm like, no, buck up, Buttercup. Yes, it's challenging. That's fucking life. Get get a grip and just move on. Like, life is hard sometimes. Life sucks sometimes. Things aren't always gonna go your way. You're not always gonna be a natural at everything you do. So just because you had, your acting teacher gave you a reality check and was like, hey, you did good here, but you're still not disassociating enough from the character, and I'm still seeing too much of you in this character where, I gave you this homework to go home and study this and mannerisms and whatnot, and it's not seeming to work. Like, just because she gave you the truth, which is what you need to grow as a performer or just as a person in general, like, just because you didn't like the truth that you got does not mean that all of a sudden that, okay, well, I'm just going to quit. Like, no. And I get it that, acting may not be for everyone or performing may not be for, like, whatever. And that's what college is for, that, explore things, see if you like it. If you don't, change it and find something that you like. Yes, I get it. It's all college, that time of life is all about exploration and just getting to know yourself. But, like, at the same time, like, don't just throw it all away because you had a bad day, or you've had a couple bad days, I guess. And then the audition didn't help. It didn't help matters. It only made matters worse. But like I was saying, sorry, ranting makes me tired. It's also like 2 o'clock in the morning. But like I was saying, when he was in the audition and they were like, oh, well, your acting's too girly, can you be more manly? Like, I know that feeling. I know that feeling very, very intimately. I know it very, very well. I've gotten that criticism before, not to my face. I've had people say it behind my back, and I've had to hear about it after the fact, which pissed me off. So I'm like, if you're gonna say something, say it to my face. Just have the balls and say it to my face. Whatever. Another conversation for another time. But I've gotten that commentary before, and you know what? Over the years, I've made my peace with it. Yes, there was a time where I'm like, oh, well, I'll butcher up, I'll man up, whatever. But like, now I'm at the point where I'm like, I am who I am. I am who I fucking am, and you're gonna get whatever the hell you get. And you guys who've been following me long enough, I've made it no secret that for me, I don't enjoy the process of acting. I love doing musical theater, I love performing, but if I had to classify myself, which most performers do, especially like musical theater performers, whether they're an actor, dancer, singer, whatever, they arrange them and whatever they do the strongest, at least. Singer, dancer, actor. Acting is my least favorite of the three to do. I like watching other people do it, especially when they're amazing. I have some amazingly talented friends who are fantastic actors, fantastic singers, amazing dancers, and fantastic for them. For me personally, I don't like the process of acting. I don't like the feeling of acting because similar things that was feeling here, where it's like sometimes it's hard to step outside of myself, or sometimes it's difficult to step outside myself, and I don't like having to try and play another character and whatnot. So that's why, but I'm not trying to be, some world-renowned actor or anything like that. That's not the case. Like, I'm a performer, and 9 times out of 10, whenever I audition for something, it's usually something within, like I mentioned earlier, there are some actors who just have a certain wheelhouse, or they have a certain character type that they play, and they play very, very well. So usually whenever I'm auditioning for something, I've got a character type in mind. I've got a character who fits into my sort of, over-the-top, flamboyant, whatever kind of mannerisms, where I can sort of morph it into just an extension of myself, where I get to sing and dance and be fierce and whatever. That's why Dr. Frankenfurter in Rocky Horror, that was the last show that I did. That was a no-brainer. I'm like, yes, absolutely, let's go. That's just me and some heels and some fishnets. That's barely acting. And there's a number of different roles like that where it's like, I played Donkey in Shrek, where it's like, okay, again, that's just me in a donkey costume, outlandish and loud and flamboyant, whatever, cool, whatever. And there are lots of different roles that I've done like that. And yes, I've played other roles where I've, had to change up my character a little bit, or, I've been the straight guy or whatnot. Hell, the number of times I've done the full Monty and played Horse, where, he's this 50, 60-year-old straight black man and whatnot. Like, yes, I've I've done it, I can do it, whatever. But like more times than not, whenever I'm auditioning for something, it's those roles that are in my comfort realm, because I don't like having to stretch myself as an actor. And I'm not trying to be some world-renowned actor or anything like that. If I was, then yes, I would absolutely say, like I said, I can appreciate the criticism the teacher was giving, because if you're here trying to be this, you know, serious actor, these are the things you need to hear, these are the things you need to fix, these are the things you need to worry about. I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to go on stage and have a good time and enjoy myself. And I do that when I'm playing things that are just an extension of myself. So like, I relate to the whole, oh, you gotta man up kind of thing, and, you know, change your personality. And I can get where that can be very discouraging, because it's like, how do I change myself? How do I act like someone who's not me? And it's uncomfortable, and I don't like it. So I completely get where O is coming from. I understand the mentality and whatnot. But at the same time, like, it's like, you worked so hard to get here. You sacrificed, and so much has gone down to get us to this point. So for me, if I were Ted in the situation, hearing all of this, it would just bring up all of that old stuff that went down with us, and I'd just be like, I would be frustrated. I'm not going to say I'm going to be upset or furious or anything like that, but I would be terribly frustrated, and I don't know that I'd be able to talk to him in that moment. I would need time to myself to digest, process, breathe, get everything figured out in my head, and then, you know, I could go and we could have our conversation and we'd be cordial and fine. So that's one way that Ted and I are a little bit different in this scenario, because you could see Ted processing whatever he was processing. Like I said, I don't know if my thought process and what I was feeling is what he was feeling in the moment, but he was clearly feeling some levels of irritation and frustration, and he was processing it while he's just standing there in his towel looking wet and delicious. And he's just processing, and O's like, are you mad at me? Please don't be mad at me, blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, he processes, and it's like, you know what? If you've made up your mind and this is what you want, then okay, of course I will support you. It's fine. We will get through this together. And, you know, if advertising doesn't work out for you, you can always come back to acting. It's fine. So he was able to step outside of himself, process, and then, you know, come back in and be there to support his man, because he knows how insecure O is right now, how insecure he's feeling, and what he doesn't need is somebody yelling or screaming at him or feeling disappointed in him. That's not something that his self-esteem needs right now. So I'm glad that Ted, in both instances, with O here, and then also with at the acting challenge with his classmate or with his friend, that he could be there and just be that shoulder to cry on, be that supportive friend, that supportive boyfriend, and just be there to just to support the people around him that he cares about. I think it's very, very beautiful to see how much he's grown. He did have some sort of, like, not really disgust, but right before he got out of the bath, when O mentioned that he sat in on the class with his friends, when Ted was getting out of the shower, he's like, oh, with them, you know, something, Q and them, or whatever names he said. And there was like this tone in his voice where he was like, I don't know, not really disappointed, but like there was some sort of negativity in his tone when he was referring to O's group of friends. And I don't know. I just have to wait and see how things pan out before I commit to a potential thought process on if he has some sort of issue with Ted's friend, or if he has some sort of issue with O's friends, or if he's, I don't know. I just gotta wait and see where things go. But yes, all right. So let's dive into the second half of this and just see where the rest of this episode goes. Oh, wait, hold on. I need headphones. It's going to be terribly difficult to hear what's happening without it. Okay. another really, really good episode. The thoughts I was having in my head when it came to Te and how he was feeling about O's friend group, it was what I was thinking in my head to a certain degree. So when they were having that fight in the street and he started bringing up O's friends and how, O was having all of those tendencies once again, and it's always, the way I saw it was always kind of like he just, it was a little wishy-washy, and he just had trouble committing to things, and he'd get bored and he'd move on, he'd get bored, he'd move on, he'd get bored, he'd move on. But the way that Te was explaining it to him and the way Te was seeing it was not so much that he'd get bored, he'd move on, he'd get bored, he'd move on. It was more so he didn't like something, then someone else liked it, then all of a sudden he liked it, and then he found someone else who liked something else, and all of a sudden he likes this something else. So like his wishy-washiness was more of a like byproduct of him trying to follow people in a sense. So not so much a leader, more of a follower, and not really having his own definitive viewpoint in life, not really having his own opinion, just going along, going with the flow, following the crowd type deal. And in a sense that's a whole nother layer of just character that I wasn't even thinking on. So I'm glad that we had that. I mean, obviously I'm not glad they had the fight, but I'm glad we had that moment out there in the street so that we could get some more insight into Ted's mind and how he's seeing things, because the way he was seeing it is not even remotely, well, I mean, yes, it's kind of tied to how I was seeing it, but still completely different, and it just gives this different feeling to the characters, to their dynamic, and to just the series in general. And then that also helps to explain why he was getting so visibly upset, not angry, but there was something that didn't sit right with him in the beginning of the episode when he showed Ted the tattoo. And I kept my mouth shut, but I was trying to just piece together reasons why he was so upset that O would get that tattoo. And I figured at some point throughout the episode they might explore a little bit more. So again, feeling that he's changing because of this new group of friends. And I guess from this last scene we got here and what Ted was saying, it's not so much that he's got this negative outlook on O's friend group, so much as he was projecting onto them and hoping that O was making these changes in his life for this friend group so that he didn't have to feel like O was leaving him. Like he was projecting these feelings onto the friend group just so he had somewhere to direct these negative feelings, so he didn't have to feel them inwardly himself. And that is just like, that is a major character development, y'all. So much character development. Obviously, I hope in the next episode Ted goes to Kim and apologizes, makes amends and whatnot, because I feel like where things were left with them was not a very pleasant place. I wasn't very happy with how things went there, because Ted was kind of just lashing out and again projecting. I can see where he's seeing those similarities in Kim's situation to what he just finished dealing with in O's situation. So he's kind of like reliving that whole I was there to support you, we were in this together, and now you're just giving up on your dream type deal. So I get it, but at the same time, like, she's trying to explain, like, hey, I'm not giving up on my dream, I have a reality to live. Like, the actor's life is not a guaranteed thing. It's not the most lucrative thing in the world. And yes, while I would love to go out there and pursue, I have obligations. I have responsibilities I have to take care of. I have a family. I need to pay my bills. So while I would love to continue to just go out here and act and do whatever, I need to know consistently that I'm going to have money. I need to know consistently that these bills are going to get paid. I cannot afford to live small role paycheck to potential small role paycheck. Like, no, I need to know that these bills are being taken care of. And acting can, you know, be a side thing. It can assist me, but like, I completely get where she's coming from. I've been down that road. I tried living, you know, the performer's life for, you know, a little while there, but eventually had to, you know, dive into actual not adult work, but, you know, had to take on, like, you know, a regular job. And, you know, performing is kind of a well, hell no, I got like 15,000 jobs at this point. Performing is one of them at this point, but it's not my main bread and butter. It's not where all my, you know, my finances come from. So, like, I completely get where she's coming from, and I know that Tat understands. He understands what she's saying and where she's coming from, but he was just in his headspace so much, you know, reliving the pain and the frustration that he just dealt with O. So he, even though he understood, he couldn't quite get past that emotional block that he was feeling there. So I'm hoping that the next episode he makes amends with her, because it needs to be done. What else? Yeah, the fight out in the street, that was lots and lots of good acting. And I mean, there's always great acting, but I remember sitting here thinking in the first half of the episode when they were at the audition, and you know, they're like, oh, can you be more manly? Like, even though he wasn't able to portray this manly, whatever in his acting, like, PP, the actor, acting as O, and then acting as O who can't be manly, and then being visibly upset by this commentary, but then still having to try and maintain his composure and act as somebody in that position. Like, just the layers upon layers of acting, like, it's genius, beautiful from all the characters. And it was just a great episode overall. Lots of great visuals that, you know, beautiful to look at. And yeah, just another great episode. They kind of made up there at the end, and I feel like this is what I've said in a lot of reactions recently. Like, it's communication. My ships, they need effective communication, and that's where a lot of the issues come into play. When they don't communicate effectively, when they don't communicate honestly, they just assume that, you know, their partner or whoever understands what's happening, and it's like, no, you have to be able to communicate honestly and effectively if you want to have a successful relationship. That's just one part of it. That's not all that it takes, but it's a very important part. And there towards the end, they were able to just talk honestly, and it's exactly what they needed to just get these feelings and these thoughts out, so that they can move forward and just be like, hey, I love you, and that's not going to change. I love you too, and that's not going to change. I promise. It's just like, So sweet. So I can't wait to see what happens in the next episode. Obviously, that's not going to happen right now because it's about 2:30 in the morning, and I have to go to work. So I'm going to sign off here. But I hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, turn on notifications to be notified when all my shenanigans get posted. If there's anything that you'd like me to react to, be sure to leave it down in the comments. I'll get to it as soon as I possibly can. If you'd like to support the channel in other ways, you're more than welcome to join us over on Patreon. You don't have to, but you're more than welcome to if you want to. I'll see you guys in my next video. Love you. Mwah. And before you guys go, a shout out to my amazing patrons. I can't begin to express how thankful I am for your support. And if you guys would like to join us over on Patreon, the link is down in the description. Love you guys.